Hi everybody, it's Joe Cioffi here on this Friday night, and looks like we got some busy weather going into the weekend at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on May the 11th. I hope everybody had a great day. We actually had a beautiful day here in my neck of the woods, just a few patchy clouds. Otherwise we had a good amount of sunshine, but we've got some rough weather to get through on Saturday. And I've been kind of thinking along the lines that every day has passed this week that the severe weather threat for Saturday, to me, looks to be rather substantial in the east. And here's the Storm Prediction Center's risk map. It is off to my left, right there. And this was expanded today from what they had yesterday and last night for Saturday. A large area of enhanced risk from much of eastern and southeastern parts of southeastern Ohio, northern West Virginia, across northern Maryland, into western New Jersey, and then going back across northern Pennsylvania. So it's a fairly large geographic area here that is indicated enhanced risk, and a large area of slight risk that goes all the way back in through the northern half of Indiana and northeastern Illinois, including Chicago in here. You've got Indianapolis, Cleveland kind of on the edge, Pittsburgh, so a lot of major cities. Philadelphia, I think, to me, judging from what I was looking at in terms of some of the technical the technical values with lifted indices, vertical motions, and the what is called the CAPE, C-A-P-E, which is convective available potential energy. And they all point to an extremely unstable atmosphere, and Philadelphia might be sitting here in in a rather precarious spot with regards to the severe weather threat, because they're kind of right in that enhanced. They're certainly in that enhanced zone. This is going to be, by the way, for late tomorrow afternoon into the very first part of tomorrow evening. There will be 2 rounds of downpours and thunderstorms to deal with in the east, and we're going to get to that in a second. I'm going to bring up the risk map for the for right now, which is showing a general area of thunderstorms out to about me, but that's really more so for overnight, and also the marginal risk that exists at the moment across Iowa into northwestern Illinois and back to easternmost Nebraska. We just had a severe thunderstorm watch box up. Let me just, I'm going to update this map really fast to see if there's anything new. Oops. Here we go. And yeah, so we've got this severe thunderstorm watch that is up now for parts of Wyoming, northern Colorado into western Nebraska, with inside that area of marginal to slight risk. But really, for my neck of the woods, for eastern Pennsylvania, for southern Pennsylvania, south central Pennsylvania, down into northern Maryland, and over into Delaware, we're talking, you know, Saturday here as prime time. Meanwhile, as we said, there's going to be 2 rounds of rain to deal with, and I'm going to go back. Let me bring back the risk map for tonight, because if you look at the radar echoes on this, the area that you see that's over now moving across the state of Michigan, that is a disturbance that is going to be moving through my neck of the woods tomorrow morning around daybreak. I'm thinking it'll be somewhere between, say, 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. That this area will move on through. Perhaps it gets through a little bit faster than that. Let's say from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then there's going to be a bit of a break, and then we're going to get into that area for later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. So let's start off with the, let me bring up the satellite, the enhanced satellite here, which really shows more of the Atlantic seaboard, but you can see some of the higher cloud tops that are pushing out of Michigan into Ohio and over Lake Huron. So that is the area, the first area that comes through tomorrow morning, and then we'll wait to see what the second area of energy has to say for itself. In terms of practical weather this evening in my area, through at least midnight, or maybe even and certainly I think even beyond that, maybe till about 1 or 2 a.m., it's going to be fairly quiet. Radars are quiet near me. This lead area of rain that's coming into the view of the regional radar shot that I have is going to fall apart to some degree. We're going to wait for that second area that's back over through Michigan to move along, and that will be that first area of downpours tomorrow morning. And there might be some thunderstorms with that could roll on through, but I don't think they're going to be especially severe. Here's the full U.S. radar at the moment, and there's some embedded heavier showers in the rain that is moving across the Great Lakes. You can see it there. There's just kind of this eastern extension of it that goes into western New York and northern Pennsylvania. That's going to dry up to some degree. So the main body of rain still to come. Meanwhile, you can see some showers developing across parts of eastern Wyoming and into western South Dakota, western Nebraska. That's part of that severe weather area that the Storm Prediction Center has put up the severe thunderstorm watch for tomorrow. So why don't we bring up a couple of the short range models tonight, and we'll take a look at those. Let me leave myself in the picture here, and hold on, let me do a little bit of box cleaning here, folks. We'll bring the risk area up so we can focus on that, and then I'll bring the we'll look at the NAM model and the GFS and a few other things as far as the weather is concerned for Saturday. So here we go, interact. Yeah, loading, just a little patience there, folks. It takes a little time sometimes for these maps to load. I'm going to go to the 3 kilometer NAM, and I want to first we'll start off with the surface map here. Here's that first area for tomorrow morning. And again, I think, there certainly could be some thunderstorms in there with this. Then there's going to be a bit of a break. That rain area either lightens up or moves out, and then late in the afternoon or evening, there you can see what will be the developing area of heavier thunderstorms. I'm going to try to get a little closer. And the 3 kilometer NAM is actually pretty impressive here, in around southeastern Pennsylvania especially. And I'm in full agreement with this. Tomorrow's going to be one of these days where there's going to be a 30-degree temperature spread over a couple of 100 miles. And, perhaps the NAM 3 kilometer doesn't do it justice. It may wind up being warmer a little bit further north, but it's going to be in the 50s in parts of northeastern Pennsylvania, northernmost New Jersey across the Hudson Valley and Connecticut. At the same time, in southern New Jersey, and particularly south of Route 195, it's going to be maybe in the upper 70s to near 80 along Route 195, which cuts the state in half from east to west. But you get into those southern counties, you get into southeastern Pennsylvania, south central Pennsylvania, you're going to see temperatures up in the 80s. And in fact, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see temperatures up around 90 degrees around the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. So you're talking about a rather strong thermal boundary here with respect to this weather front that's going to set up right on top of where I am. And I also would not be surprised if I wind up seeing some thunderstorms here. If this warm sector winds up buckling up a bit further to the north, that could certainly push up the northern extent of the severe weather for Saturday. So again, I'm thinking that the outbreak here might wind up being substantial. Going to let's see if I can. Oftentimes it's not available with all of the sectors. So let me try the northeastern sector here. And okay, so we can actually pull up what is going to be the simulated infrared satellite for Saturday afternoon, and you'll notice as we move forward that this little hook. You see right there, there's in southwestern Pennsylvania, the upper air disturbance that is really driving all of this, moving rapidly eastward. Look at these high cloud tops in the bright red. That's where I think you're going to wind up seeing some of the strongest storms. There will probably be some storms extending north and east of there, but the very strong thunderstorms here are going to be where you see the bright red. And by the way, I would not be at all surprised if we see some tornadic activity out of this somewhere. The atmosphere looks pretty ripe for that, and we're going to have to certainly be cautious and be aware of that possibility. Jump to, I'm going to see if I can, there's the usual IR satellite radar on the 3 kilometer. I got to find it, and may have made some changes, or I'm just not looking in the right spot, but no matter. You get the idea that this is going to be pretty rough. And of course, if you notice back if you notice back out to the west, you do have also some enhancement going on back over parts of Iowa during the day tomorrow. That's that western, the western extent of the slight risk and the marginal risk going all the way back into the upper Mississippi Valley. Might see if I can, maybe I could pull up a sounding in here. Let's see if I can do that. That's, you've got a pretty steep lapse rate here, temperature decreasing with height. There is, the atmosphere is extremely unstable. And I was looking at some of the lifted indexes around Philadelphia, generated by the NAM, and they are off the wall negative. And when you have an off the wall negative lifted index, that's usually a good indicator that you might wind up with some severe weather out of this. So that is going to be our focus for Saturday. The issue for Sunday is that this frontal boundary remains close, so we're probably going to be dealing with at the very least clouds, and I would not be surprised to see some passing showers. If we take a look at the precip, the radar representation for Sunday, certainly not as crazy unstable like it is on Saturday, but we do have some showers that'll be rolling through here for Mother's Day. I think they're going to be of the on and off variety. They're not going to be especially well developed, but they are going to be there. So Mother's Day in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England is going to be a bit problematic. Also, take a look at, I'm going to go to, let's see if the 12 kilometer gives us a better view of this. But there's also going to be, and at least for Florida, some rain's going to come in on Sunday, and there's a bit of a rotation here with a weak surface low that develops. You can see how the radar echoes on the NAM are turning counterclockwise. So there looks like there might be a weak low-level circulation here. I don't think this is going to develop into anything. It's very broad, and there's hardly even there is a slight reflection of a surface low there, but I think it's way too soon with regards to any kind of tropical storm development. But just very interesting that we're seeing, a surface low with rotation there in the Gulf. It does happen from time to time, and it's at least a reminder of the season that is coming, and that is tropical storm season. Now, let's take the GFS, and actually the GFS shows that rotation even more. So at the very least, this is going to mean for some heavy downpours and some heavy rains across Florida, moving up the state into the southeast. And you can see the turning there. The GFS on the late afternoon run actually does have that surface low. You see it right there. It just kind of appears, but it's, again, very broad and relatively weak. As far as next week is concerned, with regards to the weather here in the east, we are going to see an increased amount of moisture. You have this ridge off the Atlantic coast, this flat east-west ridge, and as we move through next week, it's going to open the door for some Atlantic moisture to come up. You can see there's a weak trough in the central Gulf states. That reflects that surface low that we're seeing out in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Big upper high to the east near Bermuda. So there's a rather strong flow. The weakness created by the trough is bringing up moisture from the Caribbean on northward into the east coast of the United States, and that's going to be the case pretty much, I think, all week. If we go into as far as Thursday, we're still seeing a connection running from the subtropics up the coast, the jet stream up to the north. That is the Canadian jet, which would help to dry things out. That'll be pressing some kind of a high down, so maybe late next week we may get into a bit of an onshore flow. We'll take a look at this on the surface map. And starting with Saturday, of course, we said early and late, and those thunderstorms, and then some passing showers still around Sunday and Monday. But you can see as we go into Tuesday, the models are at least generating some shower activity every day. And then we get into Thursday, there's a big high that's coming down from James Bay. It's trying to press in. That may eventually make the flow more onshore. But the week ahead looks like there's going to be a chance for at least some showers every day. And Tuesday might be the one day, I think, where it turns very warm in the east, with temperatures maybe getting up into the 80s, especially from the northern mid-Atlantic states on southward. Let's look at the full U.S. view here. And we'll start from the beginning. We've got low pressure back up into Utah with some rain and snow in the Rockies there. Of course, our energy coming out into the east. And then as we move into Tuesday, you start to see more showers. Tuesday's the one day where there's not a whole lot of shower activity going on. But then that increases as we go into Wednesday and again on Thursday. There's your big high I was talking about. You see how it just sort of presses down with that onshore flow as we head toward the end of next week. So kind of an interesting pattern that is setting up here for the middle part of May. Let me now we're going to go to the East Pac, the Eastern Pacific, and take a look at the satellite loop. We do have a tropical depression that is weakening. You can trying to find, even barely see where the swirl is left. So this thing may be weakening fairly quickly. It looks like there's still some semblance of some rotation there, but all the convection seems to have just shriveled up. So the first depression in the Pacific is out of the way, but as far as tropical storm development, we're not going to be seeing that anytime soon. So let's just review really quick. I'll just bring up that severe weather, the Storm Prediction Center's map for tomorrow. For the risk of severe weather here, we have a large area of enhanced risk covering much of Pennsylvania, western New Jersey, northern Maryland, northernmost Virginia, over to northern West Virginia and eastern Ohio, inside a larger area of slight risk that runs up from about Sandy Hook to just south of Scranton, and then goes west from there all the way back into the lower lakes and into eastern Illinois, and then it comes back eastward on the southern flank across southern Ohio, central West Virginia, and northern Virginia. And of course you see the marginal risk extends slightly north and south either side of that. So it's good. I think it's going to be a pretty busy night of evening of severe weather in, well, if not where I am, certainly relatively close by, and we'll be on top of it tomorrow. I'm not anticipating doing very much as far as outdoor activities are concerned, so I may just be sitting at home, and I will, when this stuff gets underway, I will probably wind up live streaming, so just be aware of that. In the meantime, I just want to come back to the board and everybody here. Good to see everybody on board tonight. Raymond, you're too far north for this round of severe weather tomorrow, and it is not going to make it up your way. You might, Scott Olson, I don't know, about 3 p.m. might be a little bit early, but certainly as you go into the 5-6 o'clock hour and beyond, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, yeah, I think that you might see some fairly strong thunderstorms out your way. Watershed 44, upstate South Carolina have had enough of summer. I bet you have, and it's only just started. Is there a tornado risk for South Jersey, Paul Sack? Well, look, I think the enhanced risk certainly should make you, at least everybody should have it in their back of their minds that there is a severe weather risk for tomorrow. Whether a tornado comes out of this or not remains to be seen, but the risk is certainly there. The thermal boundary is very impressive. The indices that we look at as far as measuring the relative instability of the atmosphere, showing a very unstable atmosphere. So you certainly are going to have the pieces there to create some fairly strong thunderstorms tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And I think southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey, away from the ocean, may wind up being in a fairly prime spot. Oh, I'm sorry to hear this from Timothy Veltman. Bad day. His dog. I'm so sorry to hear the cancer has come back. It's tough. I mean, Timothy, I put down my dog back in November, right after Thanksgiving. He had been, just basically, I guess, among other things, he was totally blind, totally deaf, and senile. It's a very, very tough thing to go through. So my heart goes out to you. Everybody who's a pet owner, understands. And I lost my cat 3 weeks later. Those of you who've been with me on the live streams long enough know about my cat, Kovu, who used to come on camera all the time, especially when he knew I was on. He just had this thing about opening up the cabinets behind me and just pulling stuff out. He was a great cat. And I lost both of those within in a span of both my dog and my cat in a 3-week stretch. Blorox Cleach, don't think the cold front is getting that far down here in central Delaware. Well, certainly not Saturday, but you know what? It might sink down Sunday. It may get to you or a bit further south. Sometimes these fronts have a habit of pushing further south than you think. Further than you think. So, but Saturday you're in the warm sector. You're going to be well up into the 80s, and you're going to have some boomers to deal with going into Saturday evening. Okay, folks, I'm going to leave it here at this point. Hope again everybody's got good weekend plans, and go ahead with them. Happy Mother's Day to your moms, and to those of you who are watching who are moms. Happy Mother's Day. And we'll live stream tomorrow, probably late afternoon or evening, as these thunderstorms get going. We'll see what all of this brings us. And there's no Joe Cioffi show tonight on Facebook, but there probably will be a Joe Cioffi show at 9:15 on my Facebook page, meteorologist Joe Cioffi. So if you are around, by all means, join us. And just a quick mention, you can support my my YouTube channel by using the Amazon link that I have on the descriptor to this live stream and to the videos in the video library. I'm a participant in the Amazon Services Associates program, which is designed to provide a way for us YouTube people to earn fees where you shop. If you buy something on Amazon on the link that's provided, and I get a couple of bucks kickback from Amazon. So thank you very much for those of you who use it or consider using it. I really, really appreciate it. But of course, there is absolutely no obligation. Have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow.